I'm Rachel Pollard. I want to find out what happens to growing startups on the cusp of greatness. What does an entrepreneur do when the euphoria of a great idea wears off and the true test begins? I'm Rachel Pollard, and I want to find out what happens when a startup moves beyond an idea, when things start to get real, when things start to get, well, weird. Hey everybody, I'm here with Eric Fenton, CEO and founder of Ignite Progress. Eric's passionate about helping teenagers find career and college success, so helping them get into college. Eric, you guys are a for-profit company, but you look kind of like a nonprofit from the outside. What challenges have you seen with getting funding?
Yeah, so it's a good question. We have, we tax identify as a for-profit. We also have a nonprofit arm through which we raise funding through individual donations as well as foundation donations. We actually have equity funders as well, so people who have recognized that there is substantial social good in this, while at the same time there is a financial return on investment to be had as well. And that's, I think, emerging more in the Midwest. I think that concept of a social and a monetary ROI is more common on the coast, and so it's exciting to see that happen here, but it's been a conversation that's been harder to have at times because people tend to think, I'm going to do good, so I'm going to donate my money here, and I'm going to make money, so I'm going to go here where it's profit as bottom line is the only bottom line and goal that we pursue. Absolutely.
And in Chicago, we talk about how when you're raising money, a lot of the VCs here really look at numbers and ROI as opposed to just the big idea. Have you noticed that as well?
Yeah, so it's very much, VCs are going to be excited if in an 18-month period you can get 10x growth and then have an exit strategy that is much more common to what we would read in Cranes or in, the Wall Street Journal, whatever it happens to be. And that's all well and good. It makes sense. They have to go after 20 and only one's going to work. But I think venture capital funding is definitely not the kind of funding we're going to go after, because we're looking to have, slower, steady growth, not this kind of growth with a more traditional exit buyout and that sort of thing, because we're in it for the long haul, and we're very much about the people not being lost in the process. So
I got it. So what challenges have you seen when working with schools? Because I know that's something that a lot of the education tech companies I've spoken to have noticed, is that working with schools can sometimes be really challenging.
Yeah. I think one of the big things we've found is you have different stakeholders in schools, right? So you have teachers and those who are on a very consistent basis engaging with the students, especially college counseling departments. And those individuals have one view of what the students need, which is often what we think they need. And the kind of metrics that they're looking at, too, are ones that administrators and those who are higher up in management spots have different kinds of metrics that they are needing to pursue. And so while both sides want the best for the kids, there are different people to whom they are reporting and different sometimes values and priorities that they can have. So one of the big things is, depending on who we're speaking to at a particular school, or maybe we're speaking to both, how do we tell the story that is going to be compelling for both the administrators and principals as well as the teachers who are on the ground on a very consistent basis with those students, and especially the teachers and the college counseling departments who are very focused on our our focus as well.
Gotcha. And as an entrepreneur, oftentimes we talk about how entrepreneurs have the highest highs and the lowest lows.
Okay. Yeah.
What's your most memorable win?
Yeah, well, so We've had a lot, which is exciting, though not all of them have been that. I think one of the best has been, we worked with Gary Comer College Prep, which is one of the Noble Street network schools, and one of the things we did, which is unique to the way Ignite Progress works, is we went in and we trained about 12 or 13 of their teachers to work with the students. The idea being that these teachers already have a great relationship with the kids. They have the respect of the kids. They're also very qualified as educators to begin with, so we equip them with our material, with some of our methodology, and then we put them in groups of students according to where they're scoring. And so we had about 60 to 65 kids with about 12 teachers over the course of about a 3-month period, and we saw an incredible amount of success. We were able to get a lot of good data out of it and show that we were able to do better with our kids in the short period of time that we had those 60, 65 kids than the other groups that were working with them at Gary Comer at the time. And so it was great
That's amazing.
to work with them, and the Noble Network is a great network to work with.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
And there's been a lot of talk about Chicago Public School and budget cuts, and they started today as well.
Yeah.
Where do you see education in Chicago going in the next 10 years?
Okay. Yeah, so that is a very big question. I think a big part of it has to do with funding. Obviously, we are in a state and a city right now that is in quite a crisis as relates to funding, and I don't envy anyone who's in the position right now to be needing to shift policies and make modifications that are going to get us out of this. But at the bottom, or at the end of the day, we have some serious issues facing us, and I think few people would disagree that education is a really high value. The challenge is, how do we allocate funds in that direction? So my hope is that Bruce Rauner and Mayor Emanuel and others are thinking seriously about what they need to do to keep Chicago a competitive school, to keep it a place too that continues to draw talent as opposed to push it away, because people who have kids but are not excited to have their kids be in Chicago are going to be continuing to move to the suburbs. And so I don't know. I really don't know. I'd like to think in 10 years we're going to have more and more communities like in the South Loop, or even what's happening in Bucktown and some in Logan Square, where schools are having parents come around those schools and get better. So I mean, I guess I would see a number of these neighborhoods getting more and more parents, regardless of the funding, coming around and saying, hey, we want this to work. But it'll be in large part, I think, neighborhood by neighborhood.
Absolutely. And where can people help out?
Yeah, well, I think a big part of it is what I was just saying. You know, if you live in the city and you are having your kids partake of Chicago Public Schools, I would say meet with teachers, meet with principals and tell them what you would like to see happen, but then do something about it. Don't just say, this is what I want, but get together with some other dads and moms and say, hey, this is what we'd like to do to see our reading scores, to see our math scores improve. This is the kind of tutoring that we would like to have happen at the elementary level, at the middle school level, at the high school level. And I think that's a big way to get involved, and especially as educated parents, bring some of your own talents and strengths to the table there.
Absolutely.
I think volunteering, is a huge part of what needs to happen.
That's good advice. Who do you look up to? Who was your number one mentor when you were forming Ignite Progress?
That is a good question. I mean, I think one of the people that I really look up to in groups is Harrison Staines with the Staines Family Foundation and the work that they're doing in North Lawndale.
Amazing. What's the first word that comes to mind when I say innovation? Difficult
yet necessary for survival.
Love it. And what should our audience know about you that I didn't already ask?
That I have 2 amazing little kids, and I love them, and would love for them to be in this video because they would make it better.
Cute. Where can people find more about Ignite Progress?
Yeah, so go to igniteprogress.com, check us out there. We've got a Facebook page, Twitter. We've got some articles, one in Forbes, Northwestern has some stuff on us, and we've got videos on our website. So yeah, those would all be places to check us out.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric.